Playing for Keeps, presented by Jiffy Lube. With the voice, Milt Thompson. Delivering the best of sports programming. Interviews with top celebrities. And the answer to the question, where are they now? And now, Milt Thompson, Playing for Keeps.
And welcome to Playing for Keeps. You know, where are they now? Well, I'm the voice, Milt Thompson, and I'm going to talk about them today. When I say them, we've got a special interview that we're going to start out with. Some people call him the mouth, right? Some people call him a lot of other things. They call him the Miami guy. Name's Michael Irvin, and he's going to be on our show here in just a few moments. And then we're going to tee up the cerebral one for our second half and second segment about where are they now. And that's going to be the cerebral one, Mr. Devon McDonald, former Notre Dame hot shot, Indianapolis Colts hot shot. We're going to shout him out a little bit today, but you know, I want to thank all of you for watching here every Friday night on WHMB Channel 40, listening to The Voice, Milt Thompson, because our sponsors, Jiffy Lube, are demanding that you watch and also patronize their services. We're going to be right back here in a few couple seconds here and listen to Michael Irvin, the great one.
Playing for Keeps, presented by Jiffy Lube. Playing for Keeps, presented by Jiffy Lube.
Yes, welcome back to Playing for Keeps, everyone. I am your host, The Voice, Milt Thompson, here on WHMB's Channel 40. We have a special treat for you today. Sometimes I nickname them. I would call him unpressable with today's junk defenses. You couldn't press him. You couldn't stop him, so I could call him unstoppable. We're just going to call him Hall of Famer. Mr. Irvin, thank you, and welcome to our show today.
No, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate those compliments on it. And that was the number one thing. That's the number one issue most receivers have coming in the league, dealing with that press coverage. You know, when I first got in the league, I was like, wait a minute. I started thinking about this. Why am I running around guys? You know, I was breaking it down. And as the law of inertia says, a moving object given the same weight and size should move a still object given the same weight. So I was like, I'm the moving object. I'm the receiver running. I'm not running around anybody. I'm running through them. That's why he couldn't for me.
That's why he couldn't be stopped.
Right.
I mean,
right. I was like, I'm not running. I'm not even fast enough to run around anybody. But I can take half a man. I'm going through that right shoulder or that left shoulder, and I'm coming right through you. No more running around. It's physical right here at the line of scrimmage. I appreciate you recognizing how important that was in my game.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a hurricane, right? Kind of like your college days where you kind of whipped right through and around them.
And I love that you brought that in there. Bringing in the hurricane.
Well, we had the national championship game here in Indianapolis just a few weeks ago, and we couldn't help but get out a college shout out. Because of the wonderful job that they've done. So there's your Canes. They'll get back up into the game here, I'm certain, pretty soon. But no one could really get with the unstoppable, unpressable Michael Irvin back in his Dallas Cowboys days, folks. Who's obviously Hall of Famer, won three Super Bowls, I believe he did with the Cowboys. The Cowboys didn't fare too well this year, just like around here in the AFC. Our Colts didn't fare so well either. But, you know, we're stuck with excuses. But you're not excuse man when you're on air. You're talking the real deal about all of the teams that are remaining in the playoffs, and tell us who you think's got the upper edge and what's your ultimate prediction about this year's Super Bowl.
Well, and let me just touch that coach thing because, man, I thought the coach had it this year. I liked the way that team was coming together, and I thought, wow, it's just okay. Just keep coddling and handling Carson Wentz, but it fell apart down the line. But I love the young talent. It's just a matter of now, what about that quarterback? Do we go back with Carson Wentz? I heard what Chris Ballard has said, like, I don't know about it. But here again, it's like everybody asked me about Mike McCarthy. Can we get rid of Mike McCarthy? I said, wait, let's not try to get rid of anybody until we know we got somebody better. I'm not going, you know what I'm saying? Let's just wait on that before we start getting rid of people. But when I look at this year, I see Green Bay I see Green Bay coming out of the NFC. I see Kansas City now coming out of the AFC. And I see that matchup that we've been looking for, Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, which I think will be incredible.
Well, that'll be incredible, very much like your career. Talk a little bit about your career with the Dallas Cowboys and why have they fallen on rough times since your era and the folks there that were actually winning?
Over the last 20 years, over the last few years, actually, at some point, this team had everything. Like they had a great run game at some point. You saw a great passing game. Beginning of this year, great passing game. You saw how much the defense improved this year over what it was last year. But when it comes time to put it all together, that offense clicking, run game clicking, passing game clicking, defense taking the ball away and turning the ball over, they just can't put it all together. And that's an issue. I love that Dallas, and I talked with Jerry about this. I said, listen, we go out here and look for players. I want you to look for talent, look for the skill, but I also want you to look for the right attitude and the right personality to bring in the locker room. Michael Parsons was one of those guys, right attitude, right personality, a hard worker. We need to find a few more guys like that in this year's draft.
Well, a lot of us have had to make the transition from on the field, on the diamond, off the court, and to have something that's going on in the rest of our world, and how do we continue to keep ourselves involved in the world of sports. I thought being a lawyer might be the end goal in that, and became a sports agent and dealt with a lot of fine folks. But, you're talking the game. You're talking the game that you played so well. A lot of people who play the game can't talk the game. Tell us about your transition into the booth.
Well, because it's you see the game, you understand the game, but communication is two parts. It's what one is saying and how one receives. So in order to communicate the game, I gotta know what I'm saying, but I also gotta know how you receive. You see, so I gotta use analogies of things that you can understand to explain things that you may not understand. And that's where a lot of guys can't make that transition. Like they can talk the game, but they have to be talking to more football people. I joke with Kurt Warner all the time. I said, now you do know, because he comes up with some elaborate, what we call X's, O's, XO's, XO's. I said, Kurt, don't confuse people. We're talking to a milk audience. It's not a meat audience. There's a reason they feed kids milk and grown-ups meat. Grown-ups can digest meat. It's more difficult than milk, but kids can't digest meat. And you have to break the game down to people like this. Bring it down to the milk. Show it. Give it to them so they can digest it and understand it. And even some of the greats that ever play it don't know how to do it and understand how they receive information. You have sensory receptors in your brain to help you bring in and galvanize information. You got millions of them in your brain, but you got billions of them in your imagination. So when I'm giving you an understanding or a lesson or teaching you something, I can use story form. Because story form will incorporate the billions in your imagination. It's the reason TVs or movies play music before the scene, because you start opening up the billions of receptors in your imagination. So using story form is a very effective way of communicating. Just a little something that I'm breaking down.
And even if he can throw it, you say, you need me to receive it. Because he can receive it.
Absolutely. I need you to receive what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So that's being effective.
The unpressible Michael Irvin is joining us here on Playing for Keeps, and I am your host, the Voice Milt Thompson, and we brought another major voice along with you in a special segment today. I know Kurt Warner got a movie about him, right? I want to know when that Michael Irvin movie is going to be here, because we're going to wrap up with that, and let us know when you're going to be on the other big screen instead of the small screen like we have right here.
And I'm telling you, man, that Kurt Warner was a great movie, The American Underdog. They did a great job with that. We saw it at the premiere, man. It really is. It's really a love story wrapped around football, really, and it's incredible. It's so inspirational. It's a love story that deals with a lot of the things that football deal with: fighting back, people not believing in you, and then having great support and the things you can accomplish with great support. I don't know if we'll see a Michael Irvin movie on the big screen here anytime soon. I'm still writing the chapters of the Michael Irvin life right now. So hopefully there's still some great things God has for me to do. And I don't want to leave them out yet. I want to accomplish them so I can stick them in there also.
They'll always have a sequel, my friend, and we're going to have a sequel because of the great Michael Irvin. We want to thank you so very, very much. Your producers are kicking us off. You and I could go on for days with this conversation, and perhaps we'll have another conversation with him.
Playing for Keeps, presented by Jiffy Lube. Playing for Keeps, presented by Jiffy Lube.
And welcome back to Playing for Keeps. I am your host, the voice Milt Thompson. I want to thank Michael Irvin and all of his wonderful people on how they assisted us on getting that great interview. But without any further ado, where are they now? I'm going to tell you, the Cerebral one is right here in our studio today, but where he is from his days in Notre Dame, the old Fighting Irish. That's why Cerebral, you don't get out of Notre Dame without having something going on up here in the skull. But Devon, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Milt.
It's always good to see you, man.
Oh, man. Pleasure's mine.
You're one of my heroes, by the way.
Wow,
just so you know.
Wow, okay.
And very few people get designated as Cerebral around here.
Yes, yes.
We got a lot of other folks that are designated.
Right.
We had an Indianapolis Colt on here recently, a couple of them.
I know, I saw him.
Brackett.
Yeah, I saw him.
And a couple weeks ago, might have been last week, we had Dean Biasucci.
Okay.
Yeah, former
Yeah,
kicker.
Dean.
So so we got some of your old guys running buddies around here, but nobody is Cerebral as you. So tell me about your Notre Dame beginnings, or even before your Notre Dame, what got you to Notre Dame, and how you got to ascend in the world of football.
Well, I'll tell you one amazing story, because I started out playing the real football.
Oh, I understand. The one with the little like that background.
Exactly.
Right there.
So born in Jamaica, and so came here when I was about 11 years old, and was watching TV. Wasn't Michael Irvin, but it was Dwight Clark. But there's another guy that I saw there running a lot.
Now that's hitting.
And he put a hit in, and I said, man, I want to do that game.
Not enough in that little soccer ball running around, huh?
So me and my twin brother, man, they came up to our school, public school, and they signed us up for football. And we went out for football.
Okay.
And at first I grabbed the football, the running back. I held the ball this way, and the coach said, come on, man, no. Got to hold the ball differently, you know what I mean? So I had to learn the game, and having Jamaican parents is like hard work is our middle name, you know what I mean?
Certainly.
You work hard, so didn't know the game, but a coach told me this. He said, listen, you'll be successful at this game. Every play, hit somebody. And if you don't know what to do, just go hit somebody.
Somebody anyway, right?
And it's amazing how that little advice, it does something, because when I went up started playing the game, and my first play, man, I got hit, flipped over. I was like, man, this is no joke, But then kept on playing the game, and then went up into high school, and my skills, began to materialize and so forth. So my twin brother and I. But real quick story, I went to a high school, the first high school, Eastside High School. They made a movie called Lean on Me. Principal's a guy named Joe Clark. He passed away last January. But then I transferred out my sophomore year because they hired a new coach, and they said, they met with each player and says, where you want to go to college? I said, I'm going to Notre Dame. Because the coach that was fired, he had letters from Penn State and other places. So when he told me, I told the guy that, and he said, none of you are going to make it to Division I college. And that shook me. So I transferred out, went to the rival school. So my twin brother stayed. And so my junior year, we had a record of 0-8-1. Man, nobody's coming to our games. Our parents stopped coming to our games to see my man. But senior year, we finished with a record of 10-0-1 state champions.
So the Cerebral one had it in mind even before they became successful as a team, that your impact could actually cause them to elevate, and then everybody wanted to see you because you were doing what your earlier coach had told you to do.
Exactly.
You get hit somebody back.
Yep.
Well, pretty decent instruction, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then a lot of colleges came knocking. Notre Dame came, and I'm very impressed with Notre Dame. When I came on campus, We came down Notre Dame Avenue, we turned to the coach, I said, I want to come here. He said, you haven't seen the campus yet? I said, man, I just felt something that day, you know, that this way I'm supposed to be. And so went to Notre Dame.
Some people say it's a challenge because it takes a cerebral person to be able to handle the academic rigor there,
Yes.
as well as being an athlete, which takes almost kind of,
Yes.
you know, national, sometimes international presence. Tell us about how it is your matriculation and then through your positions and how it is you developed and ultimately became eligible for being in the NFL.
Yes. So at Notre Dame, we have a lot of exposure, right? I mean, we are on national TV. You know, we are on NBC, Notre Dame Broadcasting Corporation.
We understand. I tell your Jack Swarbrick that now, and he only chuckles, right?
Yeah. So, and the education is second to none. You know, obviously I'm biased. You know, but it's very regimented. The practices on football is also second to none. The football team, we're there, and the work is unbelievable. I mean, we have to work hard in the classroom and so as you asked that question, some teachers, when they find out you play football,
they're harder on you.
They're hard on you. So, you know, we take certain classes because we think, you know, we can get over it. It's like, nope. They put more expectations. So, but all across the board, I think in the long run, it does help you because when you have high expectation on the football field and high expectation in the classroom, it just causes you to elevate because it's unfortunate some guys didn't make it because, you know, you have to come up.
But that intellect, being a cerebral one as you are, has to transfer to the football field because football is not just hitting someone ultimately, right?
Exactly.
It's understanding where you need to be, where your teammates are, how it is you're going to relate to them before you can even hit somebody.
Well, you know, people say dumb football player. There's no such thing as a dumb football player. Because think about this. You have to make decisions within split seconds because every time a person moves, your coverage, your responsibility changes. People don't know that. You know, every time a quarterback, you know, a guy goes in motion, it changes the strength, so it changes everything. Your responsibility, your gap response, you know, and so you have to be thinking. Then also, you know, you have to be physically capable.
Right.
Because playing at Notre Dame, we play against the best competition in the country.
Right.
You know, I used to go against a guy, I was 240, a guy in front of me was 340.
Right.
And ugly. You know what I mean?
I understand. How he would never call a cerebral one then, though.
You know, and so you have to be physically strong enough, and linebacker I think is the most technical position out there. Because you have to be fast enough to cover running backs and receivers, but strong enough to take on a big guy, and get rid of him, you know? So, yeah, so I mean, having to do that definitely has enhanced me as a person.
Well, that led to a stellar career at Notre Dame, obviously, and only the cream of the crop. Criminal they can get on to the NFL and make it there. So tell us about that ascension and that experience.
Yeah, so obviously with Notre Dame, we gave a lot of exposure. The year that I came out, Jerome Bettis came out, and I think we had like 13 guys either were drafted or were free agents. So I was drafted 4th round by the Indianapolis Colts. At that time, Colts was not a...
You weren't that great.
So matter of fact, real quick, so the draft went out, and so I was in first round, so I was in New York. I think it was in New York at that time. And so I got a phone call about 8:15 at night, you know, the first day of the draft. And the guy said, hello, my name is Bob Turpin, Senior Vice President for the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to take you next in the draft. Are you excited? I was like, yeah. Because
Is it bedtime?
I never thought Indianapolis, you know what I mean? Because,
Right.
you know, my twin brother came out a year before I did, and he went to Cincinnati, who was not in the Super Bowl.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
And so he said, whoever look at you the most won't draft you. Well, the New York Giants was looking at me, so I thought the Giants, and sure enough, the Colts. But now, you know, looking back, I see God has a purpose, you know, because this way I needed to be, because I met my wife eventually, and, you know, I just think this is a great city.
And God brought you back to Indiana, if you will, you know, so that's...
Now, quick story, I didn't say this. When I left Notre Dame, I said, I'll never go back to Indiana.
Indiana wants you.
And I'm telling you, I tell people, when I hear people saying, I'll never do this, I said, yep, you're going to eat them words one day.
Well, as you say, God has a purpose for you.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to get behind the scenes, your faith is incredible. and your work in the community with Fellowship of Christian Athletes and with other faith-based organizations, and you work with a cousin of mine on a prison ministry. Tell us about the relationship between your athletics, your cerebral nature, as well as what that means about helping and giving back to others.
Well, I believe we're created to serve. I believe mankind is created to serve, right? And so we're endowed with the gift of God, and God so loved the world that he gave. And so I call myself a lover, cerebral lover. and lovers give.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You naturally want to give. And so it's just natural in the community as much as I can give back. So I'm connected. Today I work with Athletes in Action. I work with NFL chaplains.
Correct.
You know, around the country. Prior to that, I was with Sports World, where we send our former athletes to share personal life experiences in the schools, challenging the young people with the message of hope in Jesus Christ. And all these different organizations I'm a part of is all about giving back. I'm a Gideon. I'm on the board of the NFL alumni, the NFLPA. Everything I'm a part of is about giving back.
Because you have been blessed.
Because I've been blessed.
You've been blessed with great cerebral skills and great athletic skills, as well as organizational skills, and you've been blessed with the people skills. And you utilize those skills in order to be of service. So what was the highlight of your Indianapolis Colts career?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what. It was in 1995. You know, we were one play away from the Super Bowl. I mean, literally one play. There's a guy named Aaron Bailey. Yes. Fell out in the end zone in Pittsburgh Stadium, and the ball would have just stayed on his chest. You know what I mean? If he had put some stickum on his chest, you know what I'm saying? The ball hit the chest and stayed there. We are in the Super Bowl, and I don't think Dallas would have had an answer for Jim Harbaugh, because Captain Comeback was killing them.
He was doing it that year, was he not?
Yeah, it was his time, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So that was a great highlight.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Super Bowl, and the Colts eventually got their one down in Miami. There's one coming up this week.
Yes.
And it's a big game.
Yes.
And you said your brother, got the chance to play with Cincinnati, so I know he's got a little cock-a-doodle-doo going on back over there in the Homestead. So we're going to give you the chance to match Michael Irvin earlier on in the show. Gave his Super Bowl picks.
Okay.
He was wrong. But we still want to thank he and his folks for having you, having him on our show today and joining our Cerebral One doing that. So I'm going to give you one chance in our last minute here.
Right.
Give me your picks for who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I really think the Rams, they're set up to do it. But I think there's a guy named Joe Cool.
Okay, he's going with the Burrow guy on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to lose. I mean, he just got it.
He's got it. He has it. And you know what we got? We got it, the Cerebral One, here on Playing for Keeps, folks. And what we're going to do is we're going to thank him very, very much for this appearance here. We're going to thank him what he continues to do to advance the good things of giving back of service out here in the world. And we're going to thank all of you for watching every Friday night here on WHMB's Channel 40, Playing for Keeps. And you're going to listen to, and you're going to go to, and you're going to play along with our sponsors. You're going to get serviced by Jiffy Lube. You're going to go to Eastbot Spas, which I know he's going to give him testimonies one of these days. And you're going to go out to Mickey Dillon Crandall for your legal services, and you're going to always call Uncle Milt to hear the voice anytime you want to see the best in sports programming here in Central Indiana. Come back next week for Playing for Keeps.